Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your 10 o'clock show. Yes, I'm back. I've had a bit of a break. I'm fresh. I'm ready to go, and I'm going to need to be because it is hell for leather, full on Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, all the way through till June if we get to that stage. Can you believe it? I watched a video the other day and I think, who was it now? It was Zaka talking about the big end to the season. 10 games to go. I thought, 10 games? God, United could be playing 19 games. That's how big it is. Yes. International break is over, people. We are back. We have got press conferences coming up. We're talking Newcastle this weekend. There's loads going on. Welcome back to the day job. Welcome back to the routine, which is real football. Let's forget about what happened on international duty because that means nothing to us. And it doesn't count to anything towards what our season is. We've got loads to get through to, as well this morning. We've got stories from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, Rob Dawson from ESPN. Manchester United are for sale. Yeah, we all know that. But it's not just the club that's for sale. Apparently, we need to sell a few of our players if we are to get anywhere near the sort of transfer targets that Ten Hag wants this summer. We're going to get into detail on that. Leading with our captain, Harry Maguire. Get your comments in, everybody. Obviously, join in with the show. Let me know what you think on all of this. I'm sure you will. Obviously, this is a high-talking subject. We're talking about players that we thought might be leaving, haven't left, should be going this summer. Well, put it this way. If you're reading the reports that are coming out like we are, then this has to happen this summer for Manchester United. It's the only time it can happen, and is all working towards backing the manager Erik Ten Hag. This is the single biggest summer so far for Messrs Murto and Arnold. They have had decent summers over the last two, in my opinion. I'm not having it that we overpaid and certain things like that. Things happen in football. We got our targets. We backed our manager. But the tough stuff starts with getting rid of players. It's not all about bringing players in. It's about getting rid of players to make room for the right players. And I think Arnold and Murto, if they are in situ, come the new ownership set up and everything that's happening over the next month, I will touch on updates on that as well in a minute. Not in a minute, towards the end of this show. But we are looking towards players leaving the current squad, what's happening right now with United, because we have to concentrate on that. It's a big couple of months coming up for United, and at the end of it, we're going to know where a lot of players' futures lie. Very interesting. Maguire, McTominay, Henderson, key players who think they should be playing more football, and I think personally as well, they should be playing more football. Will it be at United? I don't know. We're going to talk about it though. First one I'm going to bring up is obviously Harry Maguire, the captain. We have to talk about Maguire. One thing I will say about Harry Maguire and what people haven't praised him enough for, he has got the mentality of a Manchester United player. He has, hasn't he? The way he talks, he's bullish. He doesn't listen to anything that's going on behind the scenes. He's had a lot to deal with off the pitch, obviously, as we know from a few seasons back with what happened in Greece. He talks the best game ever. He talks like a Manchester United captain should talk. It's just his performances haven't been to the level that Manchester United fans feel comfortable with in him staying in that starting lineup. And it looks like Ten Hag has gone that way as well. He talks him up and says he wants him at the club, and I can see why. I can see why he wants that extra player with the way that the current squad is and injuries and stuff like that. We have to be ready. You need a big squad to play the amount of games that I was talking about at the start of this video. Harry Maguire has contributed this season. We can't say he hasn't. Whether you like him or not in the team, whether you think he's better than Martinez or Varane, that's where the question is right now. He isn't. And in our eyes, in the big games, when Luke Shaw's played ahead of him, you sort of look there, well, maybe Ten Hag is looking that way as well. But we're talking here from Rob Dawson's tweet from ESPN, where he says, Manchester United need to sell to boost their budget for the summer transfer window, and any reasonable offer for Harry Maguire will be considered. Even more so if Erik Ten Hag revisits a potential deal for Jurrien Timber. That is up on your screen right now. That's where Rob Dawson and the ESPN are reporting from in terms of Harry Maguire's situation. We've listened to Ten Hag talk about Harry Maguire. We've listened to Harry Maguire. I mean, he said he doesn't have to prove anything as a Manchester United player. He's captain for Manchester United. As captain, I think that puts him in a place where the hierarchy, the manager, whoever it may be, the coaches from before Ten Hag as well, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who had him as captain, that's proof enough that he belongs where he belongs, which is in that Manchester United squad, considered for the first team and wearing that captain's armband. everyone knows, I feel, my personal opinion, I love Bruno Fernandes as captain. That's not taking anything away from Maguire. That's just my own personal preference. I've always loved the way Bruno Fernandes plays. He's infectious. His determination and his will to win is just something that I personally feel a captain should have. I don't see that in Maguire. He has other qualities, of course. I don't know what happens behind the scenes or how well he's liked in the dressing room, and that is all important when it comes down to the camaraderie, the spirit, obviously the attitude in the changing rooms. You just don't know what happens behind closed doors. I don't think we ever will with Manchester United. We're not like Spurs and Arsenal. We're not these sorts of clubs that need the gimmicks, the Amazon documentaries. We're just not that football club. We don't need that. We're Manchester United. It's one club that doesn't need all of that palaver. I think I was saying it the other day about the sideshows, and even what Rio Ferdinand said at City when they played their game. That's just not Manchester United. Big lights and firework displays and fireballs going off, a song coming on the speakers for then the crowd to then cheer on to. That's not how we roll. That's not Manchester United. We don't need all of that. And this club is built differently. You have to have a certain mental side to your personality that can handle being a Manchester United player. I mean, the poll came out the other day. The most hated fans in England officially are Manchester United fans. We don't care. It's just how we like it. Manchester United against the world, that's how it always will be. And it just shows what Ten Hag has done and how well this team has improved this year, because it is all built around jealousy. It is all built around Manchester United being successful. That's where that hatred comes from, and that's what Ten Hag has built back. Bringing that back into the players and who should be leaving and who should be still at Manchester United. I mean, a lot of these players that we're talking about now that are being reported by other media outlets to be leaving Manchester United, are top of the list to be going this summer. A lot of them players have lived through a lot of hardships of Manchester United. They're built and they've come through a different way. I remember talking about this with Scott McTominay on another video the other day when I said, look at what Scott McTominay's had to deal with coming through the youth and the mess that has been Manchester United and how it's been run under certain people and managers that have messed players around in previous seasons. I mean, I think it was Beth who was talking yesterday about Scott McTominay playing a further role forward. You think about Scott McTominay and the fact that Jose Mourinho wanted to play him at centre-back, and he's been played at centre-back for Scotland, and all of a sudden it's changed around. Scott McTominay's got 4 goals in 2 games for Scotland, and now we're talking about him being a forward player. Scott McTominay is a midfielder, probably not of the holding variety, probably more effective up front in the sort of 8 to 10 sort of position, hovering around there. That's where Scott McTominay's game is. He's good in the air. He's decent. He's got a decent shot on him, and he has got a goal in him as well. I keep swaying away from Harry Maguire here, and I'm not doing it deliberately. But all of these players come under the same breath. We talk about them under the same breath, don't we? Are they good enough for Manchester United? That's what we're looking at. Harry Maguire, his comments that he made that I just alluded to then, said to me, I think Harry Maguire has got the mentality of a Manchester United player. I really do. It's just his performances haven't lived up to it. And it's like when I watch Harry Maguire in an England shirt, I actually feel comfortable. I really do. And I don't know what it is. And this is what I'm talking about with that little mental side of your personality and your game that you have to mould together just to deal with the pressure of being a Manchester United player. I mean, this goes back to when, was it last season? Was it Harry Maguire who said it last season that the camp in England just seems more relaxed, there's less pressure than being at Manchester United? Yeah, well, of course. If you're balancing England and Manchester United, then the pressure is monumental compared between the two. Manchester United, the pressure of that day job and having to deal with everything that comes with wearing that shirt compared to England is just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And for anyone to even say wearing that England shirt is more pressure than wearing a Manchester United shirt, I think only United fans will know. And I think only players will know when they arrive at this football club what the difference is. Because it is different. Every game's a cup final and you have to be at it. I mean, you watch teams play certain so-called top 6 teams this season and then watch them turn up against Manchester United. It's the name. It's the institution which is Manchester United. Everyone wants to beat United, and that poll alone said it. We are the most hated fans in the country because we're successful, and we probably do rub it in a little bit, don't we? Why not? Why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Everyone's had a pop at United over the last 10 years, laughing at us, dragging us through the mud, talking that United on the decline. Well, United are on the way back up. I'm not surprised when that poll came out that we were the most hated. Can you handle it, though, as a footballer? Can you handle what is coming when you're wearing that Manchester United shirt? That's what you've got to ask, and that is the difference. That's the difference between being successful at Manchester United and being that player that we're going to talk about now. The Alex Telles, the Eric Bailly, the Phil Jones. I mean, you look at players on the list. I mean, I've got a few here actually right now. I'm just going to read another tweet out about certain players. Eric Bailly and Alex Telles will be allowed to leave on a permanent deal. Anthony Elanga and Brandon Williams will be likely available for loan. Phil Jones, Axel Tuanzebe are expected to leave on a free transfer this summer. That's from Rob Dawson again from ESPN. And when you look at that, that pretty much sums up everything that I've just been talking about there. It's them players that just don't cut it. And I'm not saying they're bad players. They're really not. They're really not. We're going to talk about Dean Henderson in a minute as well, and the whole keeper situation at Manchester United. I know people don't want to, but we have got an issue that we need to deal with this summer. And that's the fact that we have got loan players coming back. Bailly, Alex Telles, these players need to go. Cut price, whatever it may be, these players, if we are looking to bring in the right type of player for Erik ten Hag, like it says there, Jurrien Timber, then these players can't be at the football club. It's as simple as that. Off the wage bill, these players would cover a lot more in terms of the wage structure of Manchester United going forward. It's sort of closing the book on a bad era at Manchester United. And again, absolutely zero disrespect to them players. And I'm not saying they are not good enough players for the Premier League, for any top league in Europe. But right now, for Manchester United and where we are, we're just closing that chapter. And it seems like we are. Because them players just didn't make it at United. It's quite clear. Under several managers, they did not make it. And we can only go off what the manager says and how many of them managers haven't picked them players as first teamers. It was a mistake, but you know, that's what I said about United. You don't know sometimes. You buy these players in and it could be the best touted player in world football right now. And this summer we could do the same again, but when they wear that United shirt, it fails. You just don't know sometimes until you throw them in at the deep end. And the deep end is walking out in front of 75,000 fans at Old Trafford and the expectation level, having been starved for 10 years of decent football, and watch the dross that we have watched over the last 10 years, then that's when you'll see if that player is ready for wearing that Manchester United shirt. And it looks like our manager, Ten Hag, has picked out them players in what he spent this summer, and they have been able to cut it. For me, Harry Maguire, where do you rate him in this squad? I will go off exactly what our manager has done. I think he is, at the moment, fourth choice centre-back, behind Martinez, behind Luke Shaw and behind Varane. And I'm judging that off big games. That's not me saying where I think it is. I say what I see. The eye test is everything, and you know what you watch on that football pitch. And yes, Harry Maguire has contributed. He has had, like he said, a run of games in the team where we haven't been beaten. We've had a lot of clean sheets as well in that time with Harry Maguire. But we've also had the worry and the concern, and like I said, the eye test. You know what you watch. It just doesn't look as comfortable. Whether he can get back to that stage, whether United can hang around and let him try and get back, I don't think so personally. I do think that Harry Maguire thinks he should be playing first team football. I don't think he's going to get first team football going off how it's been this season under Ten Hag. I don't think he's going to get it, and I think he will have to look elsewhere ultimately. Andy and Bruno, a German Shepherd. Love that name. Morning, Adam. Sadly, I think we're going to struggle to shift some of the players because of the stupid contracts Ed Woodward handed out. What do you think? Pretty much what I was just talking about then. The way that the club was run over the last 10 years, and why I said I think this is the biggest season now, or biggest pre-season for Messrs Murto and Arnold. They've done okay in the last couple of pre-seasons, but this season now, it looks like with financial fair play and the second term of that kicking in, obviously more pressure on clubs balancing books with agents' fees and wages and stuff like that, and the turnover, they have to be quite savvy in the market. And I don't think we're going to... It's not like we can't buy a player. I'm confident that we can get players in through the door. We proved that this summer. But when you break it down, it's like, what can we do? Like what the Super Chat says there. It's a case of these players don't have to go. Manchester United need to find a way to make them leave. And that list there alone covers about half of it. I mean, Manchester United right now, I would say I've got a dozen players that are going to contribute nothing to Manchester United next season. That may sound outlandish. That's a third of a squad, probably even more. But if I roll out them players that are going to be coming back to Manchester United this summer or are already here at Manchester United now, there is a lot to do this summer. Let's not even get into the issue that is obviously surrounding the club and how we handle the Mason Greenwood situation. Massive, massive summer. Whether or not the new ownership is in place, Arnold and Murtaugh still got their jobs in them current roles. We don't know. The uncertainty of everything, and this, what I'm talking about now, added to what we want to plan going forward on the new ownership, if that is going to happen, you can see why everyone is wanting this ownership situation sorted now, because the mess that we've got in terms of what, like the Super Chat said, Ed Woodward left us with, and all the crazy contracts, is just too much for one summer. We need to be focusing on backing Ten Hag, and all the circus behind the scenes could be just put aside. We cannot be looking at it that way, and that, unfortunately, is there for us to deal with this summer. Can we deal with it? Will Murtaugh and Arnold be able to organise everything and put everything in place early doors with not knowing who the owners are going to be? Have they got free rein to just carry on and work as normal? The club said they have. It's going to be interesting because there's an awful lot to do. Added to that, you've got the tour in America and that, and organising all of that as well. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But a player that I do like at Manchester United at the moment, and I want to get your opinions on this, everyone, so get into the chat, is Marcel Sabitzer. But the problem you've got right now is, and I didn't see this coming, Nagelsmann obviously being sacked at Bayern Munich, the parent company for Sabitzer, as we know. And now Thomas Tuchel has come in, and we're looking at him. Now, he's come out and said, obviously, he will assess his full squad in the summer. So he wants a full pre-season with everyone on the books at Bayern Munich. So that will be everyone there right now and everyone coming back off loan. Obviously, Sabitzer has to report back. So he's going to be in that category of, we're not going to see him in pre-season. Can we take a chance? Can we take a chance on holding on for a whole summer and bringing Sabitzer in? Because this has bigger implications now. Tuchel's saying he wants to see his full squad. So there's a full summer. We don't know what's going to happen with Sabitzer. He may like playing under Thomas Tuchel and change his mind completely. That's no big deal and isn't an issue for Bayern Munich. It is for us. We could get a deal wrapped up here and have a central midfielder who has performed well for us in the bag and done. That's been taken away now with that sacking of Nagelsmann. Because Tuchel, and like anyone, any manager coming in, we've seen it with managers here. When Ten Hag came in, essentially everyone went on tour. And players we thought were finished all went on tour. He wanted to see everyone. Every manager wants to assess his squad. He wants to see what's already there before he starts working in the transfer market. It's an awkward time. Tuchel won't get to see Sabitzer. He'll get to watch videos, but he won't get to see him play in his team. So he'll want to see him all summer. So then we're looking at our midfielder situation. What I've just spoken about then in terms of transfers and what we have to generate cash-wise. And then you look at it and go, oh, Scott McTominay's off the table then. We can't afford to let Scott McTominay go. We cannot afford to let Scott McTominay go, going off what Thomas Tuchel has said with Marcel Sabitzer and him being back full pre-season at Bayern Munich. Can we chance selling McTominay, then losing Tuchel, not having made enough money to buy a striker and another midfielder is what we need? If you go off what Rob Dawson said then, can we afford to let Scott McTominay go? Because we need to generate cash from players which are going to be difficult to deal with the situation, what's going on with the ownership and how Murtaugh and Arnold can operate. We haven't got enough money there to buy the players that we need. So can we afford to lose a squad player in McTominay if Sabitzer is going to stay at Bayern Munich? You see, in my mind, I can see it baffling my head and starting to worry me. So you can start to look at it and go, well, yeah, we can't. We can't take any risks. We cannot afford to take a risk with Scott McTominay. We have to be very careful with what players we let go, because everyone spoke about it. We've done loads of shows, loads of live shows about who Manchester United should be bringing in. But the reality is, and people are forgetting about it, I can see it in the chat, and you can all say I'm talking absolute nonsense or whatever, but the reality is we've got 2 new players on the books. We don't know who's going to be in charge of the football club or owning the club. Erik ten Hag has got his plan going forward, but now it's changed again. I think Manchester United would be full in for Marcel Sabitzer at that price. We do need that other midfielder, and there's no guarantee we're going to have enough money if we go for our top striker target to then bring a midfielder in. Can we afford to let McTominay go? People in the chat there just saying, look, why can't we just bring Mason Greenwood back in? This is what you've got. That then starts another conversation which causes another problem within the club, added to everything that I've just spoken about. It's a little bit of a mess, innit? It's a little bit of a mess on a season which is going so well. We just don't want this season to end because we don't want to have to deal with what we've got to deal with in the summer. It just sounds complicated, and I don't think we can get rid of all these players that we're talking about in one window. I think the priority list, honestly, right now, looking at it, are Maguire and McTominay contributing to the squad right now this season? Yes, they are. Some will say they're not happy with them, they're not good enough, but are they contributing? Yes. Are there other players right now? Are there about 7 or 8 players below them that aren't contributing to Manchester United right now? Yes. The priority has to be them. They have to get them players off the book before we even look at what the future brings for Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. It's sad, and I know a lot of people won't like it, but this is what reality is in football. This is what we have to deal with this summer. No matter how you break it down, yeah, let's just get rid of him. Let's get rid of him, then we'll deal with it. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. Ten Hag will have his targets, I'm sure, and I'm sure Sabitzer would have been involved in that. And that's the worry right now. That is the worry. And you add to that the fact that we've got to deal with Dean Henderson. Moving on to the goalkeeper section, people. Yes, here we are. Larry Whitwell has been talking. His tweet should be up on your screen now as well, actually, regarding suitors for Manchester United. Dean Henderson is due back at Nottingham Forest training. Obviously, he will be coming back to Manchester United this summer as well. And if you listen to what, and this is another guy who a lot of United fans just got completely narked with in the summer because of another interview that he did. Yeah, believe it or not, a player talking to the media and then it all going a bit pear-shaped. Well, I mean, Dean Henderson fancies himself as number 1 at United, number 1 at England. He's got that mentality. Dare I say it, he talks like Harry Maguire talks. He's got that Manchester United mentality. I haven't got an issue with how confident Dean Henderson is at all. I ain't got a problem with that at all. Performances and the proof is in the pudding. Do I think he's better than David De Gea? I've had many shows before and debates with people where I think Dean Henderson's got attributes I wish David De Gea had. But as an all-round goalkeeper, you can't look away from De Gea when you're comparing the two. And I think that's where Ten Hag is going at the moment. Do I believe that something will happen this summer with the goalkeeper situation at United? Yeah, there is. There is something happening because we're just talking about Dean Henderson right now and what we have to deal with there. He's going to come in and he's going to look at De Gea and go, I want your spot. If he goes on a pre-season with United, and Ten Hag might want that, then he's got a big decision to make. Obviously, there's more talk this morning regarding David Raya at Brentford not signing his contract and Manchester United being one of the favourites reported. That's not a guarantee that we are, but it has been reported that United are one of the 3 clubs looking at David Raya. Around 40 million. Honestly, I like David Raya. I would love him at Manchester United. I think he has got, again, attributes that David De Gea hasn't got, which I would love De Gea to actually have. But we ain't got 40 million to spend on a goalkeeper, have we? I just think it's crazy talk to think that we can replace David De Gea this summer with everything that's going on. like I said, I keep going back to it. Everything I've just spoke about, and then you try and throw in a new goalkeeper replacement right now. I've got my issues with certain things that De Gea does, yes. But I do know the value that he brings to the football club as well. It's our own personal opinions on what we think works best for Manchester United. And for me, David De Gea has had a very good season. And I've seen people doing videos, stats coming out about De Gea and what he's done this season. Obviously, his expected goals conceded. He's higher, he's in a lower percentage of quite a lot of categories. I look at it, I always looked at it on how confident he made your defence look. And let's be honest, in them big games where most of them goals were conceded, what was it? If you put City, Arsenal and Liverpool away altogether, what is that, 16 goals? That's like half of his expected goals conceded this season. That's about half of it. And you can't blame De Gea for, I would say, 80 to 90% of them goals? That was all defensive collapses. So I'm not going to go into here on them games and look at his stats and try and build up a case against him for that. The things that I don't like about that, I don't like him with the ball at his feet. I think he needs to improve that. But I can't hold stats against him when it's been a defensive collapse which has cost us most of them goals. David Raya, very good goalkeeper. I like Sanchez at Brighton as well, but I see flaws in him. Edison and Alisson, fantastic goalkeepers. And yes, when them clubs brought their goalkeepers in, they went and won the league as soon as they changed their goalkeeper. But you still see nightmares and howlers in Edison and Alisson. You see it in every goalkeeper. I just feel like De Gea, I think he can command his box better. I think he should be better with his feet, because when he first came to Manchester United, he was excellent on the ball. I don't know what's happened. Whether or not that is just the carnage which has been United over the years, like I said, and a lot of players have had to deal with that. And what's happened, the chopping and changing, the systems, the players, the managers. De Gea's lived through all of it. De Gea's been with more managers at Manchester United than any other player in this squad. He's the longest serving player at Manchester United. He knows this club, he knows what it's about, and he's about to take a pay cut to still be at Manchester United. I have to put respect on De Gea's shoulders for that. And I have to argue against the stats, because that hasn't all been his fault. I have had my issues, as everybody knows, with De Gea, and I've argued sometimes for changing the goalkeeper. If there's a better keeper out there, do we go for it? We think there's a better midfielder than Scott McTominay out there, we should go for it automatically. Is there a better goalkeeper out there in the league than David De Gea? Probably yes. Do we go for that? This is what Manchester United used to always be about. But in terms of priority list, David De Gea put that to the back of the list right now for me. There are other issues in this football team that need addressing before that, and this is it. This is where we have to be real, and this is where we have to look at it with our reality specs on, because there's a lot of stuff that we want to happen that isn't going to happen this summer. It's quite simple. It's not going to. I've accepted that now, that there is just too much going on. What would you be happy with? What would you be happy with in terms of what happens this summer? I think a lot of United fans, the priority would be the new ownership, or even a decision on the new ownership being in place. Has to be there for the start of the summer. Transfers done, if possible, for Ten Hag to work with them players on the tour. I don't think that's going to happen either. It's just going to get drawn out a little bit. But that would be my priority. New ownership in, any transfers done as early as possible to give Ten Hag the best preparation for next season, because next season Manchester United should be challenging for the title. It's as simple as that. That's how I look at it. We need to be stabilised in challenging and constantly competing, and then the other money that has been talked about invested into Manchester United can then be filtered down over years to come in a plan that works best. Priority number one, back your manager. Give him what he needs to take Manchester United back to the top. Like all the ownership models have promised in this takeover talk, I just feel like that's where we need to be looking as a football club, first and foremost. I would be delighted with new ownership before June. Osimhen, even if he costs 200 million, anything else is a bonus. We will not be buying anyone for 200 million, Michael, in the chat on that one. Transfer window and sack Arnold, Myrtle should be the only priority. I disagree again on that one. Money Brother, surely there is a deal to be done with Spurs. They are looking for a keeper. They were interested in Anthony Martial not too long ago. Double swoop for Harry Kane. When I talk about being savvy in the transfer window, players plus cash deals, can we work on that? I say you look at Telles, I think he's got value. I think Eric Bayer's got a bit of value. Martial's another one. I mean, Mark's been doing the tour, as you've all seen on our social media accounts, and that Martial debate has been on every single show, it would seem. Should Martial leave? We are about to see what Martial is made of. I mean, physically. Is he made of breadsticks or is he made of muscle? And is he going to play enough games? I know what Martial's got. I know he's got qualities that other forwards in our front line haven't got or could even dream of having. I know that. My issue with Martial is the same as everyone else's. Can we rely on this player? It's all right having all the talent under the sun, but if you're not going to be able to, if you're not going to be available to pick in the matchday squad week in, week out, then you're worthless. And will another club look at that when we're negotiating, like the super chat said? Sorry, like the chat said, then. Are there going to be clubs looking at that going, his injury record is too much, if United do want to sell? Beth was talking about the best combination for Manchester United strikers next season. And I looked at it and I thought, well, there is a chance, I know it's crazy, but there's a chance it could be Weghorst and Martial. So let's not forget, Weghorst, as much as you want to put him down for his goal contribution and everything like that, and he's had some unfair stick, in my opinion, from a lot of United fans. He's a player that isn't a United player. So there's another one that's going back. Are United going to invest in Weghorst permanently? If you're talking then Martial not being available week in, week out, add that to the shopping list of things to do this summer, and you can see why I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that we're not going to see everything done. What are the priorities? That's what I'm asking. That's the question. So get in the chat, guys. What are your priorities for everything that I've spoken about? Is it just a case of new ownership needs to be in and we have to accept that it's going to take a bit of time? Should we be expecting to be challenging for the title next season? And whether it's owners or not, a decision is going to be made. New owners or not, sorry. A decision is going to be made. Do we have to ultimately just invest in the playing staff and put everything else aside? Does this football team have to be continuously fighting for the title within that top four before we start looking at investing in anything else infrastructure-wise? What's your priorities? Super chat in from Andy and Bruno again. Adam, until the Glazers are gone, I don't think United can afford a Greggs sausage roll, mate. Well, we can. We showed it last summer on the company credit card, but Savage says Adam always comes with reality checks. I love a good reality check. It's a good one, Savage, that. Cheers for that, mate. Yeah, but I do. I like it. Let's just see a few others. 200 million spent on Osimhen. Another 80 to 150 million generated from sales of Henderson, McTominay, Lindelof. Wish it was Maguire, Bailly and Telles. Yeah, all good and well when you're playing FIFA. Reality world, there's the reality again. The real world doesn't quite work like that, does it? I would love Weghorst to stay because of his mentality, but if I'm being completely honest, he just isn't good enough. I mean, Ruud Gullit's come out and said that Wout Weghorst isn't good enough for Holland or Manchester United. I'm sorry, you weren't saying that when he was literally holding the Netherlands in that game with Argentina in the World Cup, was you? When he came on and changed it. I mean, if Louis van Gaal didn't revert back to Louis van Gaal football, Louis van Gaal's with Army. Oh God, it sent shivers down my spine them days. Oh my God. But if he didn't revert back to after he got back in the game got back in that game against Argentina and then just went back to full-on defensive mode again, I think Holland would have won the game. If he'd just carried on that way. But he didn't. Weghorst was a big part of that. And whether you like it or not, Weghorst has contributed massively to Manchester United this season. Yeah, we've talked about the amount of games he started, nearly every single one. But look at, he's moved around, he's moved in different positions. And yeah, his goal input is always going to be there for him. I think I was listening to Marcel van der Kraan when he was talking about the interview that Weghorst had just done while on international duty. And he was saying there, it's like Wout expects it now. He expects that criticism coming his way. And I talked about mentality before. He still contributes when he's on the pitch. And yeah, he may not give you the goals that you want or expect a striker at Manchester United to give. But you look at it, he has contributed massively this season to us and has been part of the success. And you look at the amount of games that he's started and look how many games we've lost in that spell. I go back to one of Ricky's favourite lines here. It's no coincidence, is it, that when he's played, this result has happened. Well, look at, since Weghorst has come into the team, at how many games we've lost. That should tell you a whole picture. It's not about an individual with Ten Hag. It's about his system and how it works. And in Ten Hag, we trust. And that's what I'm talking about with all these players. I base my opinion on what the manager has produced and how he sees it and who he picks in the team. So the success this season has been down to Ten Hag getting into the psyche of these players and actually convincing them players that they are worthy of playing for Manchester United. I'm talking about the failures from last season, which they were failures. The players have come out and said that themselves. That's not just me saying it. And what Ten Hag has done, I trust in his judgment, because he's already won us a trophy. He's got us firmly fixed in that top four, which we never thought we were going to be. He's already exceeded expectations, so I'm going with the manager and his judgment on this. He's been the first manager to act against an ego, which was Ronaldo. He took the club captain, Harry Maguire, out of the team. And like I said, I've talked about where I feel Maguire is in the pecking order right now under the manager. Proof is in the pudding. You start a certain amount of games, you don't start big games. For me, that says everything. So I look at it and I go, I trust in the manager. I trust that he believes in Wout Weghorst and what he's bringing to the team. And as Manchester United fans, we should accept that right now, because it is working for us. We are winning games. We've won a cup. We're in another semi-final. We're on our way to Wembley. We're in a quarter-final of the Europa League. We're literally maxing out on everything that we could possibly take from this season under this manager and the players that he's brought in. So for me, I'm going with it. I mean, Wout Weghorst, if we signed him in the summer, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. I like him. I like his work rate. I like his attitude. I think he has got that mentality again. He's dealing with the criticism on international duty and at club level and still going out there playing. And I just think people are looking past what he does bring to it, simply, again, for the stat monsters. It's not all about the stats, it's about what he brings in the game. Is he helping Marcus Rashford have the season of his life? Yes, he is. That's what I look at. That's what Weghorst is bringing. He has contributed. And you look at the link-ups, even the cup final, the ball through to Rashford to score that second goal. Yeah, his output isn't great like we've discussed, but is he making other players play better? Yeah, he is. Does he give us another option? Yes, he does. Can he play in a couple of different positions to mix things up? Yes. I think he's working. I think he will accept in the summer that if another big striker comes in, he'll know his place. He will be happy to be that player that contributes to the squad, not necessarily the team all the time. I think even if when Martial comes back, Weghorst won't have an issue. He'd know his role at Manchester United. When you've got players that know their role and don't kick up the stink, they can be vital just as much as the key players, the superstars. That's how I look at it, and I think that's how Ten Hag looks at it. He always talks about it. Whenever I've tried to get into him in press conferences, I've always said about certain players and what they bring. Can you criticise this player for that? Is it his fault? No. It's always the team, it's always the squad. It doesn't matter who it is. And he's proved that this season, Ten Hag. So I go along with that judgment. I think that's what we have to look at. But honestly, when you break it all down and what we've talked about so far in the video, it's like the summer of, it could be an amazing summer for Manchester United. It could be a very, very difficult summer for Manchester United as well. If we have to go down the lines of selling, I don't want to call them deadwood like a lot of people do. I just feel like these are players that have been brought in at the wrong time at United by the wrong people in charge. They have to come priority number one. People are talking about Fred, people are talking about De Gea, Maguire, McTominay. I can see all of them still being at Manchester United next season, come kick-off next season. I really can, because I think there's players lower down the pecking order right now that are not even at the club that need to be dealt with and dealt with first. I mean, I've just got to check something very quickly. I've been told in my ear what is happening. All right, okay. We are talking Hall of Famers. 6 former Manchester United players have been nominated to be the next inductees into the Premier League Hall of Fame. I'm just going to read the list out to you all. So, in terms of United players, you're looking at, well, it's on your screen right there. So, easy enough. United players, we're looking at Michael Carrick, Andy Cole, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville, class Michael Owen if you want, United player. And obviously Nemanja Vidic, not Matic. Get away from that one. Vidic, I would agree with, let's say, I mean, for success and what they've done in the Premier League era, I would agree probably with all of them United players. Some would argue Gary Neville. I don't think it would be for football reasons. I think it's just because of what he's like as a pundit right now. He still annoys a few people, but you can't take away how good a player Gary Neville was and what he did at right back. It was superb. Definitely Nemanja Vidic. 100% Rio Ferdinand. That combination and that partnership for years was standout for Manchester United, and what a lot of people use as the benchmark for new partnerships. It's like we've heard Martinez and Varane be talked about as the best centre-back partnership since Ferdinand and Vidic. That's how important that was. And the most underrated player ever to play at Manchester United, in my opinion, in Michael Carrick. And how he didn't get more England caps is beyond me. Michael Carrick was outstanding for Manchester United and was that unsung hero, in my opinion. I'd love to have that player back in this team right now. That would be the ultimate player. If I could pick a midfielder right now that would suit what we've got and how we play, I think Michael Carrick fits the mould completely. The control and calmness and passing and how he can run the game, I would love that player to be there alongside a Casemiro right now. Wow. Brilliant. Actually, that's a one. I'm going to do a little bit of a game before we finish up, actually. Get involved. If there was one forward, ex-United forward, you could bring to Manchester United right now, who would that forward be? I don't even know if we could do a poll because there's so many. Possibly. Let's see what the comments say. Dennis Irwin should be ahead of them all, 100%, says Wayne. I agree with Dennis Irwin. Absolutely love that guy. There's too many United players. I'm just going to see what comes through here now. Rooney's getting a few shouts. Rooney. Rooney! Rude. Oh, God, Van Nistelrooy. Oh, give me a striker like that right now. That is a shout. Ronaldo, go do one. Sorry, no. Van Nistelrooy, that's so difficult. Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy and Rooney are the ones that are coming up right now. Oh, right, these players have to have played in the Premier League era as well. So no nostalgia, people. So Premier League era, former Manchester United striker, who would you bring into Manchester United right now? Who would it be? We'll get onto midfield in a minute. Calm down, everyone. York, Cantona. Oh, God, the influence there. What do I need? Oh, I'm going to have to make a decision and play along with this. I'm not going to leave it to you guys. Oh, Berbatov. Why did you have to mention Berbatov? Oh, yep. I love Berbatov. I would take Berbatov in a heartbeat right now. I can't pick but one striker out of all of them. I would take right now. It just suits what we've got. I'd take the fox in the box. Oh, I can't leave Rooney out, can I? Surely. But Van Nistelrooy, for me, is just perfect for us right now. Honestly. Van Nistelrooy, I'm going to go with it. And I'm not saying Rooney's worse. I'm not saying he's better than Rooney. He's not. He really isn't. I just feel like that type of striker is everything that United need right now. Ruud Van Nistelrooy. Oh, yes, please. God. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's move it on. I just said I'd pick Michael Carrick. I didn't go with Roy Keane myself. I'm going into midfield now, everyone, obviously. Which midfielder from the Premier League era that has retired or left Manchester United would you have back in your team right now? Which midfielder would it be? I understand the Roy Keane shouts, I do. I just think next to Casemiro, I think Michael Carrick works. I'm going to have to stick to my guns on that, and that's really going to annoy people because they're going to start saying Scholes, Keane. Scholes would work as well. Oh, yeah, Scholes. I'm going to get battered with Scholes here, I think, aren't I? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Park G's son. Oh, God, yeah. Scholes, 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 Scholes. The comment section has gone mental. Scholes. Whoever said Pogba, just go back home. Giggs, God. Wow. Beckham. Anderson, Jemba. Yeah, here come the gimmick. Here come the ones. Cleverly. Yeah. I'm just reading them through here. I'm being shouted in my ear as well. Gibson. Darren Gibson. I'm going to take Gibson back. Brian Robson was in the Premier League era. He was just about the first season in. Did he play the second season as well? I think he did, yeah. I think he was the first 2 seasons of the Premier League era before he retired. And Sebastian Veron. I think the top 3 there are obviously Keane, Scholes, Carrick. People have to look at Carrick and what he brought and how he plays. And again, it's like, I didn't say that Wayne Rooney was worse than Van Nistelrooy. I just picked Ruud because I feel like he's what we're missing in the box right now. That little chance that you're guaranteed to get, Ruud's going to put away. I just feel like Carrick next to Casemiro, we've already got the destroyer in Casemiro and how he reads the game. I think him, just that link up there, that's mouth-watering. Honestly, I'm not going to get into defence because I'm loving our centre-back partnership right now. In Varane and Martinez, I'm not changing that. We could do a goalkeeping one. Schmeichel, Van der Sar and David De Gea. Who is better? Who has been the best one? Shut up, Roy Carroll. Behave yourself in the control room, seriously. Honestly, you put Michael Carrick and Ruud Van Nistelrooy into this team right now, you're winning the league. Simple. That's what I feel anyway. I understand everyone else's comments, but I think it goes off eras as well. A lot of people didn't see. I know the people in the chat that didn't see a lot of these players play, which is crazy to me. It makes me feel old, but it is what it is. Tim Howard. Yeah. Victor Valdez. God, you forget that we've had some players here at this club. You really do. But yeah, I would say for me, Fabian Barthez. God, I remember that guy. That was a character, wasn't it? Again, Fabian Barthez was that type of player that was just like, had the exact mentality to play at a massive club. But my God, that guy had an heads gone moment. He was just nutter. Ben Foster, yes, can't forget, friend of the show, Ben Foster. I think even Ben would say, I've heard him talking actually on videos that he would obviously, he's backed David De Gea. I think he would be a De Gea fan, to be honest. I think Ben Foster would back De Gea out of all the goalkeepers United have had at the football club. I do. I think Van der Sar was my favourite. Van der Sar was brilliant, but I love Schmeichel as well. But yeah, that pretty much, I would say, yeah, Michael Carrick, Ruud Van Nistelrooy, Manchester United will win the league. If you put them 2 players into this team right now, whoa, watch us go. That's all I would say. Absolutely brilliant. I just want to finish a bit of news regarding, obviously, Marcus Rashford's been in the news. He basically came out and said what he needed to say and quashed it. It wasn't worth making a video about. We're just going to treat that like Marcus Rashford treated it. He's not looking for over $500,000 a week. It's a non-story. He's negotiating. The club are treating him well. Marcus Rashford's come out and said that. And credit to Marcus Rashford for just coming out and just killing any bull that's been spread out through the media over the last couple of weeks regarding his contract. Like you said, you can see it on your screen there. Sources close to Marcus Rashford insist he is focused on having a successful end to the season, but that representatives expect progress with negotiations before the end of the campaign. That's from Rob Dawson. Rob putting it as it should be put, which is Rashford is happy at United, looking to win as many trophies as possible this season. The negotiations on his contract will be dealt with and will be finalised hopefully before the end of the season. And if one man does deserve a new contract, especially off the strength of this season, is our goal scorer. I remember doing a video. I remember doing it well because I think, I don't know if it was us that put it out. It's like, will Marcus Rashford become Manchester United's leading goal scorer of all time? I remember doing a video about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it was in one part of the lockdown. Can't remember where it was, so 2 or 3 years ago. I remember doing a video and saying Marcus Rashford can be Manchester United's all-time leading goal scorer. And that was back then. And I remember Ricky laughing at the video, actually, because we all know what Ricky thinks of certain players at Manchester United. But I remember him laughing at the video and I thought, you know what, he's going to shut a lot of people up. And at the time, people were comparing Martial and Marcus Rashford. And I always said they play better when they play together. I think the best of Martial and the best of Rashford, apart from this season, obviously, in the past has been when they've played together. I think they have a link up and they have a chemistry which no one else in our front line has got. Especially when, remember that when we had Bruno just behind Rashford, Greenwood and Martial. I thought that was frightening, that setup that we had then. All in top form. It was brilliant to watch, but hopefully we can get back to that Martial and he can come in and join the hot Marcus Rashford as well. So, yeah, it's positives are there. Big positives are there for the current team that we've got right now. Obviously, we've got Eriksen coming back. You can add Eriksen and Martial to this current crop of players now that have been playing over the last few weeks. Obviously, we lost Eriksen, we lost Martial. And then from that moment, we have done quite well, obviously, barring Liverpool away. We've done well on what I was talking about with Weghorst and his time at United and how many games we've lost with him playing. You add a fit Christian Eriksen and Martial to this last 2 months of the season now. Oh yes, please, that is what we want. Let's not forget, we've got to deal with no Casemiro. So there's going to be that moment when Casemiro comes back into the team as well and adds that bit of experience and nous. And it boosts you, doesn't it? It's like when you're playing in a team and that brilliant player comes back, you just feel a lot safer. I just feel it's going to be that boost which sends us to that glory that I think we're going to get this season. Eriksen coming back, Martial hopefully coming back, Casemiro back from suspension, all leading into them last games of the season over these next couple of months now. I think is brilliant. I think he's where Manchester United are going to clinch that glory that I think we're going to get. That's where I think United are, and I think with them players coming back in, I think that's why I'm confident that we can get that success. Third in the league and a treble. Simple, isn't it? Football's easy when you break it down. I think we broke down quite a lot today. The reality check's been there, as always, with me. I will be back at 2 o'clock for our updates on everything going on with United. Hopefully we get some more news regarding the takeover. Obviously, I didn't touch on it too much there, but actually, quickly before I do go, obviously, the news that, obviously, with everything going on right now in America and the prices of certain NFL franchises, can't remember which one it was now. The Washington Commanders, they're receiving bids of around about $6 billion for them. Will the Glazers? Then this was from Sky Cave actually yesterday. Will the Glazers look at that and go, that's the benchmark? That's the area that we should be looking at for Manchester United. Obviously, the Premier League is bigger, worldwide. The audience is bigger. If an NFL club like that, which isn't even one of the biggest NFL clubs, or franchises, sorry, if that's going for $6 billion, then surely Manchester United should be going for around about that price. Will that scupper any deal going forward? Are they going to look at the market for sports franchise and go, well, there's the benchmark, that's the standard, that's the level. We're not going to accept anything less for one of the biggest sports franchises in the world of sport, in Manchester United. Is that going to change anything? Is that going to change the outlook? And is that going to change anything in terms of the bids and what they will accept over these next few weeks? Hopefully we'll hear by the end of the month what's going on. But at the moment it's just a little bit too quiet, and we don't like it when it's quiet. It just gives us that little bit of fear, sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it, with the Glazers, when it comes to what they're dealing with and how they deal with things. When we don't hear anything, it's like, oh God, start to worry that it might not be happening after all. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some more information and obviously any more updates coming up. But we will be back at 2 o'clock today. Cheers for tuning in, everybody. Cheers for all your comments and involvement in the little game we played, the super chats as well. Like, share and subscribe to the United Stands. Like I said, we will see you this afternoon. Have a good start to your day. Hopefully that video will just set you off in a nice smooth road into it. Guys, I'm done. I'll see you later on this afternoon.